Okay, just first a few admin things just in terms of next week. Next week you guys are presenting your work in class and we're going to mark it in class for your final hand-in. So it'll be pretty much what we're doing today. The only thing that I need you guys to do as well as part of your video that you're making, I want to see your video reference and your blocking, and then your final animation is 3 separate clips. Okay, so like all those animation breakdowns that we've looked at before, just in the beginning of the video showing your video reference with the actual soundtrack, the original, like not the sound that you recorded, but the sound of your piece, okay? And then the second time we see it is the blocking of it, and the third time we see it is the final animation. Okay. I don't know what that means. No. You can just show the actual original full reference. So just the unedited, well, edited, but the unfreeze-framed version. Okay, and that I'm going to make an assignment for it so that you upload it before class, and then you guys don't have to copy everything. It'll all be on Classroom by the time you get here, and we can just watch it off of there. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to very briefly look at a very few things, but we're going to be focusing on splining and how to basically take our animation out of constant and then what to do once we have it in spline. So I recorded the previous class, and I'm also going to record the next class, in which you guys should go back and watch all 3 of those again. To see exactly where I started, and I was just working on a small little section that in the 3 classes I'm working on different bits and pieces of it, so that you guys can get quite a a better feel of this process. Okay, so first of all, the very first thing that you need to do before you start splining is save a backup of your file in constant. Okay, firstly, so that you have it if anything breaks. Secondly, so that you can make your capture of it for your actual submission. And it's just really good practice just to have all the different variations of your final animation. Okay, so this is my final one, which I made a capture of, which is over here, I believe. Let's just send the sound up.
Yeah, but I'm not so good around blood. Yeah, but I'm not so good around blood. Yeah,
so
but
what we need to do before we start splining, okay, is take a really good look at our blocking. And the process of splining is really identifying errors and problems in it, and then tackling those using our graph. Okay, so ideally, things that you shouldn't need to do while you're splining is add in extra keyframes. Things like holds we can still add. We can still quite easily adjust our timing. But 90% of what we need to do should happen in our graph. So what you should do is take your animation and focus on very small sections at a time. Okay? It doesn't help with like literally trying to spline the whole thing at once. It's just too long. Okay, so really focus on either gestures. So for instance, for this example, I'm going to look at just this first move up until where he puts his hand on his head. First 36 frames basically, so it's about a quarter of the animation. And really get that working really well before I move on to the next bit. So you're literally focusing in on like micro movements. You're focusing on really small sections so we get a really good understanding of just what needs to happen in there. Okay. Also, if we're looking at such small sections over and over and over again, we can really start identifying the small little problems in it. Whereas if we look at the entire thing, it's just there's just too much happening for us to actually be able to interpret what's wrong with it. Okay. So the approach that I take to splining is first of all, small sections at a time, and then purposefully looking for things to fix. Okay, it's not just a process of opening your graph editor and deleting and changing things. Okay, first of all, what I'd like you guys to really pay attention to and really try your best not to do, please don't delete any keyframes while you're spawning. Okay, it is not necessary, and deleting keyframes will inevitably only haunt you. Okay. The other thing that you really mustn't do is move keys of individual controls off of the key of the pose that they're on. Okay, so if you are adjusting your timing, move that entire frame, the entire key pose or breakdown or whatever. So select all the controls, select all the keys on it, and move that. But don't go and shift things left or right on their own. Okay, that will make this a nightmare. Okay, so if this is my blocking, okay, I'm going to show you just briefly what I did in the previous class. So just on that first section, okay. Sorry, before I do that. As far as my blocking goes, ideally we should look for little things. Okay. So it's really difficult at this point. If there's still latent issues, we should have fixed that in our blocking. So if there's anything, for instance, over here in the beginning, the head makes like a little bit of a pop over there. So over there, he suddenly looks up. So little things like that, where a control or a pose or something isn't quite gelling into the poses around it. We need to go and fix that. It's easiest to fix that in our blocking. Okay. So by the time we get to our spline, we shouldn't be able to see any blatant issues in our blocking anymore. And the new issues should only like reveal themselves once you put everything into Bezier. Okay, so let's put everything into Bezier and look at it then. Okay, so this is my final blocking. Okay, so what you need to do is, let me just turn off the sound. Okay, what you guys need to do is go and save this, make a backup of it as your final very last blocking file. Save a new one as a spline file. Okay, I've already done that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all my controls, make sure that all the controls that you animated are visible. So I know all of those were controls that I had used. Select all of them, select all of your keys, press T and say Bezier. Okay, so that will immediately put everything onto Bezier. So if we look at it now, okay.
But I'm not so good around blood. 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 But I'm not so.
So then also places where you have switched between IK and FK, there may be something dodgy happening still, which is fine. So for instance, over here, where he goes, not that section. Actually, that works reasonably well. But over there, I expect there his arms going through his head. Okay, so there's definitely something weird happening, and I'm guessing that's between blending from IK over there to FK over there. Okay, so that's fine. We'll fix that when we actually get there. So what we need to do then is cut this down, and I've chosen the first 36 frames. Damn it, I did it again. Okay, so focusing on the first 36 frames. So just that one gesture. So what you would have noticed is animation. So generally speaking, places that go What I've done over here is really just focused on one gesture. Okay, so from this key pose to that key pose, and just kind of watch this. Okay? I'm just going to discuss what So from this first key pose to the next one, doesn't feel like it feels like the character
Yeah.
floating from one side.
Yeah.
So from there all the way to there, it really feels like, particularly his torso, is really just drifting from there, going at an even speed into there. So it really doesn't feel like there's much weight on that weight shift. Okay. Um, Other than that, I think the head is. I think there was issues with the head that I saw. But generally speaking, and the timing of the arm moving could be a little snappier, perhaps. But the biggest issue in this first section is the weight shift that I saw. Okay, so in terms with regard to that, so what I did was to make this a little bit quicker. Okay, I thought maybe in the beginning here we can add a little bit more of a hold. Okay, so he holds this pose just for a little bit longer, and then that transition to really focus on my principles to make this a little bit more appealing. Okay, so instead of having just this floaty, drifty thing like that, I managed to do this. So let's turn that off and watch that same little section, okay? Which now
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over here,
Yeah.
so looking at this,
Yeah.
what we've managed to do
Yeah.
is really eliminate that
Yeah.
drift.
Yeah.
And we've
Yeah. Yeah.
literally implementing the
Yeah.
principle of bouncing
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
easing into that
Yeah.
kind of having the rate
Yeah.
as soon as it
Yeah.
And once you drop
Yeah.
there's a bit of the overlap,
Yeah.
there's a bit of the follow through.
Yeah.
We have it
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just by adjusting,
But-
it was literally
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
But by adjusting
Yeah.
the torso control,
Yeah. Yeah.
we did two things.
Yeah.
First of all, we broke up
Yeah.
the light
Yeah.
and static kind of-
Yeah.
so just as an
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do I
Yeah.
do now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at some of the
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
this happening.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some of this
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But let's look at it here. So this was the unsplined version. So you can see what the nose is doing, and it's kind of looking and stopping and looking and stopping. Okay. So this
Yeah.
right here kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
which turns a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can go and smooth that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah. 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 yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay, so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay, so the things I want us
yeah,
to look at is
yeah,
specifically
yeah,
identifying
yeah,
issues. Okay, that to me is
yeah,
really all that Splining is about.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
finding problems and how
yeah,
can I make this problem
yeah,
better. Okay, and
yeah,
the easiest way to do that is by
yeah,
fixing the things that are obviously
yeah,
broken. Okay.
yeah,
And the other
yeah,
thing that I need to say, I'm not sure if I mentioned
yeah,
this one already,
yeah, yeah,
but is that you should
yeah,
essentially
yeah,
know what you're doing
yeah,
at every moment
yeah,
throughout this process.
yeah,
You shouldn't be moving
yeah,
things just because you
yeah,
don't know what to do.
yeah,
It shouldn't be an
yeah,
issue. Okay,
yeah,
this is specifically wrong
yeah,
information, and now
yeah,
I'm trying to rectify that
yeah,
issue. Okay?
yeah,
And that's why
yeah,
we give you things like
yeah,
analyzing animation
yeah,
very quickly.
yeah,
It's why we try
yeah,
and really get you guys
yeah,
to the principles.
yeah,
All this is
yeah,
fixing issues
yeah,
and applying
yeah,
principles to make
yeah,
this as clean as possible.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I'm gonna just undo this. Well, let's just leave it there for future reference. Okay, so two things that I'd like to have open in front of me while I'm splining is my graph editor and my dope sheet. Okay, so let's make this dope sheet. Timeline works as well, but dope sheet specifically. Now, when it comes to the graph editor, it can be incredibly overwhelming seeing that. Okay, literally seeing all of our curves at once, it's just a nightmare. Okay, so what you should do when you're working in the graph editor is only look at one curve at a time. So turn off everything that you don't need and literally only focus on the one thing. So that little arrow button over there helps because then it only shows you what's selected. Okay, so if you only are looking at what's selected, it's going to show you those curves, and then you turn everything off. Okay, so you turn all of them off, and you only activate one at a time. Okay, remember home will then scale your view to your curve so that you can see the whole curve a little bit better. And literally taking it frame for frame almost. Okay, so here we're looking at 36 frames at a time, looking at a very small piece of animation, looking at a very small section of a graph, and that is all that we're working with. Okay, so just in terms of, again, just a quick recap on what I did in the previous class. If I just show you the difference between the curve over here and the curve on the next one. Okay, so just with one curve specifically, so the Y and the Z location, the up and down movement of it. Okay, so what we had initially was this. And please go watch that video, it's definitely going to help once I get it uploaded. Okay, so what we had was this. We had a very linear descent down there and then a flat line, okay, which is normal after you're blocking. What we changed it to was this, which is very different. Okay, so first of all, we added in our hold in the beginning, so it doesn't just immediately go from the one pose into the next. So we extended that first pose a little bit. Then we added a little bit of an anticipation. So over here, by having him lift his hips up a little bit before we drop him down. So it's not just going straight down, it's anticipating, lifting up, and then shift his weight. Okay, and from there, we've changed the slope of this curve so that it really speeds up into there. A little bit of an overshoot, so a bit of follow through of there, and then comes back up at that point. Okay, so the only thing that we did And the only thing that we need to do while we are splining is take points on our curve and move them up and down. Okay, that's it. Okay, at places we may want to adjust the tangent handles. Okay, so move these as well, which we can do, but that's it. Okay, you can get away without that if you have enough blocking in. All that we need to do is move them up and down. Okay, so specifically what I need you guys to just remember, when you're working here, it's very easy to break things just by pulling these around. And as you can see in the bottom of my frame here, if I pull those, I'm pulling that key off of its key pose. So I'm changing the timing of that one object alone. That we don't want to do, okay? So what we do want to do is when you are working in your graph editor, select an individual control, select individual frame on an individual curve, and literally press G and Y so that you can only move it up and down. So no matter what here, I can't move it side to side. So I can only adjust it, I can only adjust the spacing. Okay, if I want to adjust my timing, I will go down here, I'll select all my controls, select my whole pose, and move the entire keyframe left and right. Okay, but in the graph editor, to make it as easy as possible, only select one key at a time and just move it up or down, adjusting the spacing of that object. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go a little bit further. Okay, so building on where we were, we don't have too much time. Literally, we're not going to spend long on this. The same applies for anything that you are splining. Okay, it is taking a small section of animation, breaking that down into individual little controls, or breaking down into individual errors. Okay, so where we had that very gradual weight shift, then we decided there we want to change that. Okay, so likewise over here with the head. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter what you are splining, the same principles are at play. It's really adding in overlap, it's adding in anticipations, it's adding in follow-throughs, it's adding in holds, all of these things. It's literally our principles that we are applying by adjusting our spacing. Okay. The other thing is this has to happen from your actual render camera view. Okay. Doesn't help doing it from any other angle because then you're literally moving it in a way that you're never going to see it. Okay. So the first thing that you do is identify an issue and try and resolve that issue. Focus on a small section of animation at a time and one control at a time. Okay, so for instance now we're going to move slightly higher. So before we get to the actual head and the arm, this is one of the things, if there isn't really anything wrong with that animation, what we can still do is focus merely on easing in and easing out, cleaning up our spacing, okay, and sorry, really going through our curves and just neatening it all up. Don't delete frames and don't move frames left and right. Okay, we want until the very end to have our whole character still posed on each key pose for every single control. Okay, so turn on one graph at a time, look at that, see what you can do there, go to the next one. Okay, and do that for the whole character. Literally every single control that you have animated, we need to go and check the curves for. Okay, so far all I've done is adjust the hips and the torso control, and that is where you should begin. Okay, your torso control moves your whole character. So it doesn't help going and splining the arm or the head or something with the fingers, and then when you come and adjust the torso control, all of that changes again. Okay, so start with the root motion, which is your torso control, and work out from there. Okay, so let's look at the shoulder control and see what we can do here. Okay, so firstly, if you don't know what a certain graph is doing, go to a frame, select its key, and move that up and down so you can see exactly what it is doing. Okay, so regardless of which curve it is, go select a small section of it, just to check so you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, so then the first and easiest thing, if, as I said, if there isn't anything wrong with it, what we do want to do is generally linear movements like what we have on this whole section over here tends to be quite boring. Okay, so what we can do is adding more ease in and easing out, okay, which ultimately will affect our spacing and give our whole character more weight. Okay, so I'm going to select the control and start at the top with this curve and basically look at this and see what we can do to make this more interesting. Okay, so as I said, two things that we don't want are linear sections and flat sections, which technically speaking are also linear. Okay, so flat sections means that thing is stopping to move entirely, which we don't want. If we do have a flat section like this, the easiest thing to do is to really just go in and add in a little bit of a moving hold to that instead. Okay, so there we have a complete static hold, so that is not moving between those two frames at all. Okay, so from there all the way to there, it's no movement. Okay, so what we can do is, for instance, on this section, also try to be on the frame that you're adjusting while you're doing it, so you can see what effect it has. Okay, so select that control and bring that down a little bit. Okay, adding more easing out into this section, and select that one and drop that a little bit as well. Okay, so it's small, but if we zoom in, you can see that actually has quite a large impact. Okay, and then I can go and adjust my curves or my tangent handles just to make that as neat and tidy as possible. Okay, so even though over here it still looks fairly flat, we've now gone and made sure that there is some slight variation in that movement, so it doesn't ever just lock up completely. And if we maintain that or like enforce that idea throughout our whole animation, we should have no like really dead parts to it. Okay, so even our holds then will have some like some small, not random, but some small drifts to them, which will really help. Okay, the other thing over here. So here we have a very linear piece of animation. So our shoulders are rotating very evenly from there to there. Okay, so what I like to do then is to ease it in and ease it out a little bit. So adjust the timing of our, well, it's more spacing, but adding those faster and slower sections ultimately contribute to the weight of our character. Okay, so again, selecting, for instance, that control and putting that down a bit. Okay, so we can ease into there and then ease out over here. So instead of having just that linear animation, we have more of an ease in and then changing the timing a little bit so we get more repeating motion. Okay. Then to do the same thing for the rest of these, so specifically over here, so have it ease in over here a little bit more. Okay, so even if it is subtle, we're really just trying to get our curves as smooth, if that's the goal, as possible. Okay. Maybe over here we have a little bit of a dead bit, so over there I'm going to drop that one, supporting this next section over there. So cleaning that up a little bit, and then taking this one. Okay, so even if it is small, so for instance that, in terms of the amount that it's actually moving, I don't see the units, but it's probably not very much. So just as an example, if I go and wiggle this, it's a very small amount that's moving, but all of those small amounts and all of your controls on your whole character add up to a big change. Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to do exactly the same. So really just try and get this to ease in and out a little bit better. Okay, so he goes and pops his hand over there. There's a bit of a knock there, but that's fine. So over here, I'm going to lift that up and drop these a little bit more and see what that does. Okay, so that one, there wasn't anything wrong with it, but we've just gone and added in some ease in and ease out on those curves. Okay. Okay, so that would be a small movement over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we get that. Okay, in terms of objects that are rotating, Blender uses quaternion rotation for a lot of the controls, which means we have a Y parameter as well. You see it's not rotating in degrees, it's rotating in, I don't know, radians or some weird unit. In which case the Y rotation is generally, there's very little happening on it normally. So I tend to just ignore it. You can go and clean it up if you really want to. So even though that seems like a very big change, the difference is between 0.099 and 1. Okay, so that's the biggest it really gets. So it's really 0.01 change in that. So if we just look, the amount that affects our character is literally almost no movement there. Okay, so you can just go and neaten it up a bit, but don't stress too much about the actual Y curve. Okay, and then moving up, what I do is I start at the hips and build my way up throughout the rest of the chain. Okay, so focus on the hips, or the torso control and the hips, focus on these controls, and then the neck and the head. Okay, so any FK kind of chains, which the whole spine is, okay, you want to start at the root and then go up from there. Okay, so this control, I don't really use that spine control that much. So I think even over here, there shouldn't be much of a change. There's a little bit of change in the end. Nothing really there, nothing there, nothing there. Okay, so that one I disregarded, which isn't great. I should have probably used it a little bit more as well, but not the end of the world. Okay, moving up then to the neck and the head. Okay, so here, remember, one of the issues that we had was with the head, so when we get there, we need to remember that. But we do obviously need to approach this in a logical manner. So we can't just jump straight into the head and fix that without having done everything that comes before it in its chain. Okay, so again, rotations on the neck. Let's start over here. So there's literally nothing, which is weird. Should have something. So let's turn that one on. Okay, nothing much happening there. Okay, so my bad. Should have had more animation on that neck control. But let's see. So what the head's got going on. Okay, so there's a lot happening in the head. Okay, so the head you can. We don't need the locations. I don't know why they're keyed, in fact. So let's jump straight into the rotations of the head over here. Okay, so if we just scrub through this section, okay, and look at what's happening. So from there, there's a hold, okay, and then he kind of tilts his head to one side, and then as he touches, he looks to screen left, and then kind of holds that. Okay, so it's only really those two movements over there. However, I think merely cleaning up the keys or the curves here should fix those little knocks that we had. Again, just to familiarize ourselves with the actual which curves are doing what. Okay, so that's the X. I'm guessing that is not the issue, so the problem was specifically here on the Y curve. Okay, so here again, very linear, and then over there is one of those knocks that I was speaking about. Okay, so you can see in terms of what these are doing. So the spacing is what's off over here. So I can see that that gap is slightly bigger than that one, and that gap is slightly bigger than that one. So just by merely easing this in and out, we should be able to fix those issues. Okay, so let's start at the top, X rotation, make this nice and big. I'm really just going to clean this up a little bit. So over here, ease in and out. So I'm going to drop that a little bit more. Okay, gets there and then turns again. So let's just remind ourselves this is the nodding kind of motion. So he tilts his head, it kind of stops for a little bit and then goes down over there. Okay, so I don't hear. What is very easy to do is to remove all the weight from your animation while you're splining. Okay, so by cleaning this up too much, not paying attention to what it is that you're doing. So here, looking at the general inclination is doing that. So let's move that up as well and really over-spline this section and really go and smooth it out too much. So we can do that, in which case we're taking away all of those little pauses that we had blocked in initially, okay, which we don't want to do. So I'm going to undo that. Undoing in Blender is specifically slow. Okay, so because I can see there that there's a little bit of a hold before he goes into the next section, I want to keep that a little bit more. Okay, so if we now just go into...
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that actually is pretty cool. I think that looks much better. So this one here we can, okay, so here there's definitely some random motion which we don't need. So here to really ease that in a little bit more, we can just go and nicely take out those little bumps that we had, and then our hold over there, we can make a moving hold just by lifting up that slightly. So we don't have a dead straight section there, so it eases out over there and then picks up again.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys are, but I tend to animate on Simplify sometimes if I'm lagging at all, okay? I think in this case I'm not actually on Simplify, but just the subdivisions are off on my character, just so that I have smooth.
Yeah.
Doesn't help
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
In terms of the head there,
Yeah.
rid of the
Yeah.
knocks,
Yeah.
the little smooth,
Yeah. Yeah.
little pauses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, which is great. Okay, lastly, let's look at the Z curve. Okay, so here, linear motion, we don't want linear motion. So let's ease into that a little bit and ease out of that a little bit over here. And then let's just kill this dead hold over there a bit. So pull that up a little bit more. And that one up a little bit more as well. Ultimately, what I can do is drop that one. So which will just balance that out a little bit better. Okay, so over here then I do have a slight little pause, so I'm just going to rotate that. Just try to get this even though it's really not going to make much of a difference, but let's just try and get that shape a little bit smoother, just like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all this
Yeah. Yeah.
is taking
Yeah.
control,
Yeah.
fixing any issues,
Yeah.
identifying those issues,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. Yeah.
it's easy enough
Yeah.
to overlap. It's
Yeah.
follow through.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Really, that's what we
Yeah.
like to do in this course.
Yeah.
By knowing the principles,
Yeah.
knowing what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So in terms of the head there, I think
Yeah.
that's fine. That's doing quite well. The other arm isn't doing too much, so I'm not going to waste any time on it now, but let's look at this arm a little bit as well. 5 minutes. Okay, we'll look at one controller. Look at that one. Okay, so if we're just looking at this motion,
Yeah. 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 But. Yeah. Yeah.
so already that
Yeah.
looks, if you just compare
Yeah.
this
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
massive difference.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Adjusting us
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
was
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I want to take this further. Sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
going to go now.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Too many shortcuts to remember. Okay, so let's just look. One control, that one, we know it is in the X rotation, so let's look at just that. Okay, and see where we can go and add that in. Okay, and again, overlap does not mean moving keys left and right. You should never move your keys left and right. Okay, unless you're a ninja and you can remember 7 million things at once. Okay, so if we just go through this slowly, right there, so on that down there to lift that head up a little bit, and then on that section over there to drop it again. Okay, so there, so that frame we have. So let's see if we adjust this a little bit. Wait. So drop that a little bit more. Okay. Okay, and here's where we're going to play with our graph a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we've done it.
Yeah. 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 But. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the feels now slow. Okay, so as it's dropping, then it's only rotating down. So what we can do instead of adding in another keyframe, we can kind of manipulate it by adjusting these. Okay, so you can see the apex of this graph, okay, the point where it changes direction is on that keyframe. But if I do that or that, I can shift where the apex is up in time. Okay, so instead of having it happen exactly on the key pose, instead of adding in another keyframe, which I really don't want to do unless it's a hold, okay, use this as a rule. The only time you should add in keys while you're splining is if you're adding in a hold. Okay, so if you're duplicating a key pose or a breakdown or whatever to make that hold, so to keep it in that pose, but ideally you shouldn't need to add in extra keys at this point. Okay, so by adjusting the tangents of that curve, we can shift basically where that apex is and ultimately delaying or bringing up that animation. Okay, so There, it's later. We want it to be sooner. So we're doing something like that.
Yeah.
Still some more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, does that. And this one, to kind of counter that, I'm going to do that a little bit and see if that helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
Little things like
yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Only going to be
yeah.
Add those
yeah. 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 Yeah.
Can identify
yeah. Yeah.
Knowing what overlap is.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Knowing that it exists.
Yeah.
Knowing where to add it.
Yeah.
And then knowing how
Yeah.
to apply it technically
Yeah.
in your market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only way it is.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
combination of that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
knowing what they mean.
Yeah.
And that's why we
Yeah.
build it into yourself.
Yeah.
Trying to start
Yeah.
guys just to
Yeah. Yeah.
I think slow
Yeah.
next to you should
Yeah. Yeah.
exercise as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like that. So this,
Yeah.
so this is where we
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we've got just that
Yeah.
little bit of
Yeah.
just goes
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
small, subtle, but
Yeah.
it's those things. Overlap
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
It's all about rate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
things that we're listing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the first thing that
Yeah.
shows that we do is
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we work.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So massive difference.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.